Hey lady, Cheryl here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I hope you will see something or learn something from the video and that you will subscribe. We have been having a brutally hot summer in Garden Zone 8A, Mesquite, Texas. I'm telling you guys, it has been so hot. I think the highest temperature was 109. In this video, I'm going to share several things with you, how I'm coping with the heat. Okay, let's get started. Hey everybody, it's early Sunday morning. As you can see, the water hose over there to your left. I'm watering the garden. It's going to be 107 degrees today. I'm making sure that I water the garden thoroughly. Guys, do you see these beautiful canna lilies? Just want to tell you that even though they say they are heat tolerant, they can't actually take a temperature above 103. They start dying off prematurely. So while I'm out here watering, what I'm going to do is put some shade that I put up here the other day, and I'm going to let it drape all the way down, just to protect them, because it's going to be 107, the weather prediction says. So you do what you have to do. There's no one thing that applies to everything. And while I'm here, let me just give you an update on my tomatoes. I have, these are celebrities. 1, 2, there's a tall one right there and a little stunted one there. But I think, it's reacting that way because of the heat. So I'm thoroughly watering the bed. In the last video, I showed you the little green onion tops that I cut up, and I put them in this garden bed. You don't see any insects. And I'm not bragging, I'm just saying the things that I share with you guys, my precautions, they work. If it's an experiment, I'll tell you. I will never tell you anything that I haven't previously tried. Put some onions around your tomatoes. Even if you just use the peels, the scent of it will thwart off that hornworm. While I'm giving you the update on my tomatoes, I'm going to show you this big one here. This is the mushroom basket. I'm letting that basil go to seed. You can't pull them off when they're green. You have to wait till they dry out. And then they'll drop down into the garden. You see these little basils that are popping up over here? And this is the one that I bought on sale at Callaway's. There's some more basil back there. Let me go closer. You can see it. And these two are mushroom baskets. Tomatoes that I started from seed upstairs in my room. Now, let me give you a little advice. Don't water your plants on the top. Water your tomato plants at the base. Try to keep those leaves from getting wet unless it rains. And it hasn't rained in over 40 days in Garden Zone 8A, Mesquite, Texas. So that's the update on the tomatoes. We have up until about the second week of November for them to ripen. I'm going to check my journal to make sure I put the right information in about how long it would take for these tomatoes to ripen. But I know I have plenty of time because they've been growing for a while. I started these tomatoes from seeds a couple months ago inside my room when it was very hot outside. I put the information on the screen in case you want to screenshot it, but it's going to take between 70 to 85 days for these tomatoes to produce. The National Weather Service has predicted that we won't get our first freeze or frost until November 29th. But the Farmer's Almanac says that it's going to come around the 16th. Whichever date we get in between the 16th or the 29th, I still have more than 85 days to get my tomato plants to produce and get a nice size and start blushing where I can start harvesting them. I just came out here after church to turn the fans on. It's 103 degrees, but I want to show you this. I found an easier way to charge up my fans. They came with short cords, and so I bought some longer ones on Amazon. You can see it extends all the way from there to all the way over here into the generator, and that one is extending all the way up there. Yeah, it's going to be 107, so I got to run back in the house before I lose my breath. But aren't those tomatoes doing well? Sure are. The blooms are falling off because it's too hot. But as soon as okay, look like we got a tomato here. That is a tomato. That's the beginning of a tomato. It held on to it because of the shade cloth and the fans lowering the temperature. And you guys know I have a sensor up in my room that tells me what the temperature is under the shade and the fans. So even though it's going to be 107, it's not going to be that hot where most of my plants are. This is my propagation station. You can see I've got a lot of plants that I'm propagating. I haven't bought any house plants in a very long time. I'm not going to show you all of them, but this is what I'm going to show you. It's currently 5:47 in the afternoon, and I just took this picture from the Weather Channel. It is 108 degrees in Mesquite, Texas, but the high was 109 degrees, and the heat index was 113 degrees. Now check this out. This is the thermometer inside of my bedroom that I keep in the window, so it's showing that it's 81 degrees in my bedroom, but it's actually a little bit cooler. I just have it close to where the garden is. And if I turn the lights on, you can see I had just turned them off, and that makes it a little bit even warmer. But under the shade cloth outside, it's only 99 degrees. So what am I saying? The fans and the shade cloth really lowers the temperature, and that's why my garden didn't burn up. It's early the next morning. I just want to show you when the lights are out, when the sun is not beaming on this thermometer. This room is 72 degrees. Just me enjoying my cup of hibiscus tea while Brian is going over his homework. Brian, you want to look up and say hello? They tell me they miss you. I told them you're very busy this school year. One of the main reasons why I don't have a lot of insect damage, this is a bug zapper. Now, I have to admit, I haven't cleaned it out in a long time. But look at all those dead moths. And I'm going to clean it out and I'll show you. But I want you to know that I have another one. I'm going to try to go in closer right there. And then I have a solar-powered one right there. I don't like that one as well as I like the electrical ones. I screwed the top off. And look at all those dead and dehydrated moths. Look down here, guys. Just a lot of them. You see that top right there? It just screws off. And then you can just clean it out with a little small brush. Just shaking it and putting it all into this hanging basket, and I'll empty it later. Now let's take a close look at what I empty. Most of the debris in here are dehydrated moths, but there are a couple of small June bugs, one right there and one right there. And if you're new to gardening, those smaller June bugs will turn into grub worms. I'll pop a picture of a grub worm that will eat at the roots of your plant in your garden beds, containers, or even in your grass. And then here is something I don't think I've seen before. This is a squash bug. I'm so happy to see that one, and there's one right there. Get you a little bug zapper. It won't kill your beneficial pollinators, but it certainly will help you. By having these killed, they will stop that moth that lays the eggs for the cabbage worms and aphids. I hung it back up, and you can see how that blue light will attract those moths to the light. I've never seen a bee or wasp or butterfly in the debris. We have a feral cat that keeps coming in my garden. We picked it up on the ring camera. Now, with all the recalls, we got to be very careful about contaminating our own organically grown fruits and vegetables. That cat that I mentioned that keeps coming in my yard, it's a feral cat. I don't know who it belongs to, but I know what to do about it to make sure that it doesn't drop any poop in my garden beds or my containers, because that could be very bad. Cat poop and any animal really can have E. coli in the stool. So when I saw that cat on the security monitor, I immediately remembered to get my orange oil out so that I can spray all around it and hopefully it won't come back. So I want to show you something, and it's almost empty because I have been using it for years. This orange oil that I get from Amazon by Medina. I don't know what this costs now, but I can tell you that the scent of it, cats don't like. But you have to be very careful because small rodents like mice or rats like the smell of orange. But this has been working for me, and we haven't been seeing any more movement on the video camera. And what I do is I put it into this spray bottle. I put 1 ounce, and I think this is probably about 20 ounces. It's a glass spray bottle, and I just spray all around my garden. Now, when I say I have an organic garden, I'm gonna be straight with you. I buy, see that Miracle Grow right there? You might see some more right over here. So I will use potting mix that's on sale, but after that, everything else that goes into my garden is organic. Let me take you over here where the camera picked up the feral cat. If you look all down this row, you will see that I put my water containers here because the containers are empty. I'm growing seedlings up in my room to put in here. But I also put in some little plastic forks because cats don't like uneven surface. They like the straw because it's soft because you wet it. But I also applied this, and I shared it with you before. It's ground cayenne pepper, or you can use the flakes. But I find that the pepper powder works very good with keeping rodents out of the yard as well. So that's what I've done all through here. Let me turn around let you see. Every container that's not being used, like right here, and all over here. And this is the last of the okra that I'm growing. It's the Louisiana gumbo okra, and I'm hoping that it will start putting on some fruit. It's not growing as tall as the Clemson spineless okra that I grew previously, and we canned and froze a lot of it. I am under the shade cloth, and I'm spraying my orange oil all around here. So besides the forks, you could also use like crushed eggshells, anything that's pointed that will, prick the cat. So there are a lot of things. You can Google it, but I'm just showing you the ones that I have used in the past. Guys, it is Monday. It's 109 degrees. I watered this morning and everything is still wilting, but hopefully the temperature will drop. And I noticed this little cherry plant right here that I got from Callaway's nursery. Doesn't look like it's gonna make it. And I noticed this little runt over here. Let me show you. Right there. That little celebrity that the growth was just stunted. And I put a fan closer to it. And you can see the other ones are doing well, and you can see the breeze from the fans. But yeah, I'm going back in because I'm about to lose my breath. And I watered good, and I can just look right over here and see the coleuses wilting, the peppers. But it's okay. We're gonna get through this. I absolutely love my battery-powered fans. There's one there. And I'll show you another one because I haven't put this one on the tripod. Going there. But they've been on all night, and they're plugged in to the generator. And the generator only has pardon me, 15% of energy left. So I'm going to unplug them, and I'm going to take it and plug it in so I can use it later. In conclusion, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video, and that I really miss Brian, my grandson, my camera guy, because I'm not really doing a good job with the tripods. But I want to thank you all for watching. You know that I love you. And it's so hot out here, guys, I'm crying. God loves you too. Double kiss today. Bye now.